have some action. There's some things we have to note. That is that Maine, though it will be called, has had tremendous little crazy shifts within it all evening. And I would like to, again, just see the reporting down to the ground. On the map, they have small blocks within the state. 3 of these blocks were pink, and 1 of them was blue. Now 3 of them are blue, and 1 of them is pink. Let's take Maine as an example of what the AP does in this context, because the reporters are hearing from the election officials. There are 2 in each state. At least that's what we began. I feel like we were all part of that. We finally made all that happen. So the reporting that's going on, I would like to see the guts of that. Is what I would like to see. But here on the night of the election, there are some things we can say according to Associated Press's ability to call states. They have now called New York for the Democrats, which means that the electoral college count has shrunk to a 21 count margin of difference, with Donald J. Trump now has picked up North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wyoming. And so he's at 120. Kamala Harris has picked up New York. That puts her at 99. They're likely to call Michigan. In Michigan right now, Kamala Harris leads by 39,000 votes. So that's interesting. Missouri has swiveled. Only 7,000 votes separate the 2 candidates, and the Democrats are leading. Kansas has swiveled again, and the Democrats are leading with 35% of the vote counted. But small margins both. Nebraska is interesting. It's divided, with just 8% of the vote in. Trump has more than doubled Kamala Harris's count. Texas remains, the margin, all evening the margin in Texas has grown in favor of the former president, and now stands at a margin of 600,000 votes. Earlier, I don't know what was going on there. I was confused. The margin is 600,000 votes, so 54% with 56% of the vote in. So they can't call it, but the odds of a big county like Bear or Harris or somebody coming in and making up 600,000 votes, slim. Texas swinging to blue, I would say, is unlikely at this point. But we don't have divided boxes like we have in other states. I don't know why they don't do that. And later, these boxes, I'm hoping, will be counties. We can see the actual counties. Once again, our methodology here is I am using only Associated Press. I'm not on any social media. I'm not on any controlled media. And I'm using C-SPAN when I want to see something like an analysis or whatever, because it's a non-profit organization and it's bipartisan, arguably. So no Fox here, there's no CNN, there's no, anything. I'm just looking at content coming from the reporters on the ground via AP and C-SPAN, which I haven't looked at in a minute, but let's see here. Polls are now closing in Arizona. Polls are closing in Wisconsin. Donald Trump has won Louisiana as per Associated Press. Again, the AP is calling the races based on multiple factors here. The ones that we're talking about as pink or purple or whatever you want to say, the mixed ones, they're not called, the ones that are called, the math has it that it doesn't matter at this point. If 80% of the people haven't been counted because the margin is too wide. So that's the logic of how AP does this, if you're wondering that. So I'm only using AP. So Colorado leaning early toward the Democrats. Kansas now. Kamala Harris has increased her lead in Kansas with a third of the votes counted, 36% of the vote counted, and she's got a 27,000 vote lead by AP estimates. Missouri, this is interesting. Missouri is interesting, with just 6% of the votes counted, of course. Pennsylvania, we're hoping for a call there soon. We have 17% of the votes counted. The margin is wide for the Democrats. Michigan, also soon to be called, I would guess. Maybe not. Michigan's tight. Texas is tight. Georgia is tight. North Carolina is now once again light blue. Light red. Guess what? North Carolina has swiveled. Virginia has swiveled. Both with half the votes in now, Donald Trump has a lead in Virginia. With half the votes in, Donald Trump is leading in Virginia by 35,000 votes. In Virginia. In North Carolina, Donald Trump is now leading by about 100,000 votes. With 40% of the vote counted. So North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Texas, Ohio, all too close to call. I will repeat that. Too close to call. That means don't think about it right now. Too close to call. Let's put the ocean sound back on. It's too close to call. AP is making calls based on percentages. I am backing up AP's percentages. And the questions we have, we'll put on this live feed, and later we'll look at them. But at the moment, at 8 minutes past 8 o'clock in the Central Time Zone, Texas too close to call, Georgia too close to call, North Carolina too close to call, Virginia too close to call, Pennsylvania leaning Democratic, Michigan leaning Democratic, Iowa strongly leaning Democratic in the very early counts. Minnesota, similar thing going on in Minnesota. Very early though. Polls have just closed. Meaningless. So what we're doing is we're just listening to the ocean and checking up on the race every, once in a while. AP has given Donald Trump 137 electoral votes by giving him now, Wyoming, West Virginia, Tennessee, South Dakota, South Carolina, Oklahoma. Oh yeah, he picked up North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wyoming, where very few people are voting in these places. Sparsely populated, 14,000 people we're talking about. 11,000 people, not even, 3,000 people voted in South Dakota so far. And they're calling it. You see, these are the questions I have. How can they call that? Ohio has been called for Donald Trump. Wow. All right. I contest Ohio. My name is MT Karthik. This is MTK. I contest Ohio. I demand a recount in Ohio. I would like anybody who's on, Sonsky or Duncan or Oliver. I'm now talking to either Sonsky, Duncan, or Oliver. I would like you to contest the election in Ohio. Please contest the election in Ohio. There are 3 candidates who can do that. Oliver, Duncan, and Sonsky. Let's look them up. Ohio candidates. Ohio candidates for president. Oliver. What are the other ones? Kandinsky and Schlabunkuk. I don't know what it say. Ohio. Oliver, Duncan, and Sonsky. Oliver, Sonsky, and Duncan. Somebody get on the phone with them. Let's see. 5 presidential candidates appear on the ballot in Ohio. We which means one of them can, here we go, Chase Oliver, Richard Duncan, and Peter Sonsky. Hi, I'm MTK, and at 8:11 Central Time, I'm asking Chase Oliver, Richard Duncan, and Peter Sonsky to contest the election in Ohio, please, because the reporting between the hours of 7:15 and 7:40 is what I would like to ask about. That's where I want recounts, whoever those were. That's why I'm giving you the timestamps. So Chase Oliver, Richard Duncan, Peter Sonsky, please contest the election in Ohio. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, that done. I'll make that a 1-minute video later. Ohio has been called for Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen. 17 votes taken to 137. Kamala Harris and the Democrats at 99 at the moment. Michigan, too close to call. Pennsylvania, too close to call, too close to call. But we'll see. Virginia, too close to call. North Carolina, too close to call. Georgia, too close to call. Texas, too close to call. But now 6 million votes between the two candidates in Texas. 6 million votes after 57% of the votes counted. My guess is Texas will be called for the Republicans within the hour. That's my guess. They're up 9 points. Texas has just been called by AP. Boom. As I said the words. Click. Texas has been called by AP for former president, number 45, Donald J. Trump. He now has 177 of the required 270 electoral college votes. Ohio is the big question. Really, something crazy happened in Ohio? I would like to see that. I want to see the Ohio votes. I don't believe in Ohio votes. But I would not storm the Capitol and act like an idiot and a traitor, like all of you did, you traitors. I would not do that. I would ask a reporter to go down to the ground in Ohio. I would ask the other candidates in Ohio, Duncan, Sonsky, and Oliver, to contest the election. I would use the existing system so that we can have a peaceful handoff. I would not storm the Capitol. Now, turning to the point at hand, Ohio, questionable, called for Donald Trump. Votes there now, 2 million more, almost 3 million more. Votes were counted between 40% and 52%. See that? I don't know about Ohio, guys. I don't think they're running elections there very well. Meantime, Colorado, looking Democratic. Kansas has now really firmly swiveled. Missouri, unusually, I am shocked to say this, but in the early going, Kamala Harris is leading Missouri, 60,000 votes. Yeah. Okay. Texas called with 6 million down after 57%. Yeah, that's about right. Louisiana was also called for Donald Trump. So, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina, all red. Georgia, the toss-up nightmare, 2 million votes ahead at this point, is Donald Trump. My guess is it will soon be called for him. North Carolina, highly contested. Virginia, highly contested. These margins are less than 100,000 votes. Here, 150,000 votes are the difference in Virginia and North Carolina at this point. Michigan, only 10% of the vote counted, still too early to call. Pennsylvania, still too early to call, with 20% of the vote in now. Okay, it's counting time. You guys probably aren't going to see me for a little while. I think I'll next come on at unless something radical happens, I'm not going to come on again until later. Because this is pointless. Everything I'm doing, you can do. I'm just trying to stay out of everything and do a separate accounting and reporting. and have a timer on it, so that we can later look at, if there's questionable stuff that happens, like happened in 2000 or 2004 or other times, we can look at it correctly. And one way to do that is to live stream live analysis. So that's basically what this is, live streaming live analysis. That's what we're doing. And while we're doing it, we're just listening to the ocean.